Hi, Caleb with Brownells here. In today's From the Vault, we have something a little bit different. So if you've watched any of our videos in the past, you'll notice that this gun right here, this particular setup, has been in a ton of videos we've done. I can't even count them all. And every time we showed this gun on the table, whether we just show it sitting on the table or we're actually talking about something on it, we get a ton of questions in the comment sections asking us, different aspects of this gun. So we decided to just make one dedicated video and go over the whole thing start to finish, because this is actually my personal rifle. This is one that I've built, and this is the one I use the most. So without further ado, let's get started. I'll start at the front and just work my way to the back on this one. So the handguard is a bit different. This is one you don't see very often. This is the Midwest Industries 17.5-inch handguard. I really like this one because it comes all the way to the end of the muzzle. There's no real benefit to that. Obviously, I can't put a suppressor on it because of that, which is no big deal for this particular gun. If I was going to do that, I would have another gun set up for it. But it comes all the way up, which means I get the longest sight radius on my iron sights, and I can mount my light further out as well. The muzzle device is the Odinworks Atlas. Really good muzzle device, keeps that muzzle climb down, low on recoil. I know a lot of y'all out there wonder why you need a good muzzle device on a 223 for recoil, but it helps you stay on target and get those follow-up shots in a lot faster, the less recoil and muzzle jump you have. So that's the muzzle device I went with. Moving back from there, we have the Magpul rail panel covers. And I didn't go with a vertical grip or anything like that, and I'll show you why whenever I pick the gun up in just a second, and how my hand falls on it. Because this is set up for me. Like I said, it's my personal gun. And the barrel is a cold hammer forged chrome lined FN with a mid-length gas system. So super smooth shooting gun there. And we'll talk about the light and the sights in a little bit here. Let's move back to the receiver before we get into those types of accessories. The receiver set is a matched Midwest Industries billet upper and lower, which they no longer make anymore. This was probably back in 2013 or 14 whenever I purchased those. But since then, Midwest has stopped manufacturing them, which is a shame because these were some of my favorite receiver sets on the market at the time. And now, I guess we can jump into the bolt carrier group. The bolt carrier group itself, you can see it here. I got that ejection port open. But that is a Lantac bolt carrier group. It's one of the best ones on the market, in my opinion. It's a really good, proven bolt carrier group. I know they're kind of hard to get right now, but if you can get your hands on one, it's definitely worth it. Moving back, let's jump to the buffer system here. So this stock, the Magpul UBR, this is the Gen 2, so it's a little bit lighter. But this is the A5 length one. I felt that the A5 length, when fully collapsed, kind of gave me the best purchase on it. So it's a little bit longer than the standard, but I'm using a standard carbine buffer and spring in there. I'm not using the A5. So what I had to do, and the reason I'm doing that, what I had to do was machine a piece of Delrin to put in there to take up that extra space so that the bolt would travel the proper length, because if you don't have that in there, you have a standard buffer and a A5 length tube, that can cause some serious issues there because your bolt's going to travel too far. So I machined that in there, and the reason I'm using that carbine length one is because I'm using the Geissele Super 42 buffer and spring, which is a super awesome setup. I'll pull it out here in just a moment and we'll kind of take a look at that, but I want to go through everything first. So let's jump back into the lower receiver. In the lower receiver, the first thing you'll notice when you look at it is either the trigger or that super goofy anodized mag release. But let's go into the trigger first. The trigger is the Elftmann Service Trigger. I didn't do a match trigger on this one because this is more of a service style gun. I wanted a little bit heavier trigger pull with that extra reliability in the hammer because their service triggers have an extra power hammer spring in them. So that's a really cool feature, and that's why I went with that. And you still get that Elftmann super short reset and all that stuff. So really good trigger. If you're looking for a single stage trigger, that's the one to get. So let's take a look at that blue anodized mag catch. So first off, thing about me, I hate colored anodized parts on AR-15s. I absolutely hate them. But this one here, I think this one here is made by Odinworks, and I got it for free at SHOT Show at like 2013 or 14. I don't even remember which one, but they gave that as a sample, and I was like, yeah, I'll try it. And I put it on this gun, and I liked it, and I've just been too lazy to go purchase the black one. But I really like that mag release, so I left it on there. And I don't know why I have something I hate on this rifle, but for some reason it just works so well. And when people compliment me on it and say, oh, I love that blue anodized release, I'm like, oh, that's disgusting. But it's there. So fun fact about me on that. The pins, K&S anti-rotation pins, I'm sure you've seen a ton of those in the past. And I'm going to go ahead and pick it up here so I can show you some other stuff. So, just double clearing it here. Slide this out the way. So on the opposite side, I'm a lefty, so I'm left eye dominant. I shoot left or right-handed, but typically my go-to is left-handed. I have the Troy ambidextrous mag release. This is one of my favorite ambidextrous mag releases ever made. I think it is extremely underrated. Selector levers, battle arm development, ambidextrous there. The grip, I'm running the Bravo company. This is one of my favorites here. It's just personal opinion. I've used plenty of Magpuls as well, and those are great. But that's Bravo company is what I went with on this one. The rear sight is an arms rear sight. Front sight is a Knight's Armament. And the light I'm running here is a Streamlight ProTac 2 on a Midwest Industries offset mount. So if you can see here just how low I actually got this light to this rail. It's pretty crazy. It's extremely low and it's not touching, which is awesome for a light mount because there's way less chance of getting it snagged on gear or barriers or anything like that. This is the American Defense mount with a Trijicon 1:4 LPVO optic on there, low power variable optic. And I'll go ahead and bust it open here. The takedown pins I went with are the Battle Arms Development. They're a little bit smaller than your standard takedown pin, your standard mil-spec, but you can still get more purchase on them, which is pretty cool. I like how they did that. So we'll just open her up here. Here's my absolutely filthy bolt carrier group. And this charging handle is the Patriot Ordnance Crusader. I think it's called like a axe or something like that because it kind of has that battle axe shape to it. And I've used plenty of other charging handles out there that I really like your Bravo companies, Radians. I have a ton of Radians. But this is the one I went with on this particular build. And yep, I promised to show you that buffer spring here, so I'll go ahead and pull that out. So this is the Geissele Super 42. So you can see it's a coiled spring, which is super durable, super dependable, and it kind of kills that twang you get on your standard springs as well. So it runs a little bit quieter, not a big deal, just more of a personal preference. But all in all, I think it's a really well-designed buffer setup. All right, I'll throw this back together here and kind of show you why I have the accessories where they are. So, my light being on the left-hand side where it is, and the pressure pad being on top, and the reason I went with this particular hand stop setup is because, for me, whenever I throw this rifle up to my shoulder and bring my hand up to it, that's where my hand naturally falls, right there, where that grip is, and my thumb can actuate that pressure switch. So, super easy. Easy setup there. I get a lot of criticism on this gun because people say, oh, you just destroyed your ability to mount a suppressor to it. It's like, well, I don't care about that on this gun. If I want to mount a suppressor, I'll do it on another rifle. So, oh yeah, on the UBR, I took out the storage area here because I don't need it. If I want to like store my M&Ms or Skittles or something like that, I just throw them in my pocket. I don't need to store them in my stock. So that is it. If you have any other questions or comments you'd like to leave on this particular setup, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I'd be happy to hear your criticisms on my personal rifle. But yeah, that's it. That's my gun. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time when we bring you another gun from the vault.